Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Hi, Ed. Hi, Megan. Mr. Wheeler,
Good afternoon.
I thought we were going to have Mr. Rice today.
Oh, that's just what the emails say.
Oh, okay. Wow. Tricky.
They keep you guessing. The meeting should be going live about now, but I'll be listening, Chris, if you need anything.
Okay. Thank you. Welcome, Jim.
How are you?
Good.
Good, good. And how are you?
So far, so good.
Good.
How about yourself?
Good.
So I just heard from Jay O'Donnell. He is going to phone in. And hopefully that's going to work just fine, but we won't be able to see his face. And he's in the car, I believe, so we may experience some connection issues with him. So just a heads up to everybody. We are expecting Adrian as well to join in. And we're not 100% sure whether we'll have Addison or not, but we will hope for that. And but in any case, with or without quorum, we will proceed to hear our audit report from our auditor, since we have her as a guest today. If we lack a quorum, we won't take official action to accept it, but we can hear the report and defer that action to the next meeting.
Okay.
Hopefully we don't have to do that, but just in case. Oh, there's Adrian.
There's Adrian.
Great. Hi, Adrian.
Oh, hey, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we got
Yeah.
you now.
Yeah, I can barely hear you guys.
There was a slight delay there.
I'm not sure why.
You got your mask at the ready, I see.
Always.
Got one too.
I'm having a heck of a time hearing you guys.
Huh.
I'm hearing everybody else okay.
Yeah, so far we're all good. Okay.
Chris, can you say something again for me?
Yeah, you hearing that?
Yeah, barely.
Barely? Okay.
I'll just have to lean in.
Okay.
Lean and squint, right? Because I feel like squinting helps us hear better.
I'll try that.
Oh, there's Addison. Perfect. Hi, Addison.
Hi. Sorry I'm late.
Can you hear us okay? All right. So we've got Adrian not hearing great, but all right, Mr. Chair, we have quorum and we may expect a phone in from Jay. So we'll just be aware of another potential joiner. But we do have quorum if you'd like to kick us off.
Okay, I will call the meeting to order. And we start with public comments. Do we have anyone from the public who would like to make a comment?
Chris, I can help you out with that. If anyone in the audience, we have 3 people in the audience. If anyone wants to make a comment, just click the raise hand icon in the Zoom webinar. Mr. Chairman, I don't see any hands raised.
Okay, we will move on to the consent agenda. So we have the minutes from the November 10th, 2020 meeting. So do I have a motion to accept the minutes from the November 10th, 2020 meeting?
I'll move.
I'll second.
Okay. All in favor, I guess? Aye.
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 Any opposed? None opposed. Okay, we'll move on. We have the treasurer's report. Chris, do you want to say anything about that?
No, there was nothing really out of the ordinary for October.
Okay. Did anybody have any questions about the treasurer's report? I don't see any hands raised. So we'll move on to the new business.
Oh, did you want to, we need to do a motion on that.
Oh, we need a motion on that too?
Yeah, if you didn't include it with the
I
other
did not
ones.
include it now. So
Let's do
I need a motion to accept the treasurer's report from October 2020.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? I hear none. Okay. Now we're ready for new business.
Excellent. I'll introduce our auditor, Ms. Megan Argenbright from Brown Edwards. Those of you who've been on the board previously will recognize her. Usually she attends in person and gives us a quick overview of the audit process for the fiscal year. And just as a reminder, this is for FY20, which ended June 30th of 2020, so some months ago, and for the preceding 12 months. So that is the period that the audit is covering. And the typical process involves their staff coming on site for a couple of days, usually in August, September. This year we did everything virtually, but they have been on as our auditor for a number of years. So pretty smooth operation. And we were able to do that pretty effectively this year. So with that, I think I'll just turn it over to Megan to provide highlights of the audit and answer any questions that the board might have about the audit. So
Thank
Megan,
you.
floor is
Yeah.
yours.
So thanks for having me, guys. I'm Megan Argenbright, and I work for Brown Edwards. So I will say Kim Cook is the person who really did 98% of the work, and I swoop in and I review it, and then I get to do your presentation. So so she's really the blood, sweat, and tears that went into doing the audit, along with the city staff of Chris and Gail. And honestly, you know, the process, like Chris said, it went really quite well. You know, we've done a lot remotely this year that we hadn't done before. And this audit, we didn't run into any issues. It went swimmingly. The opinion, that's the main thing we want to hear. We issued a clean opinion, an unmodified opinion. That means that we felt the financial statements are materially correct. We also issue a yellow book in relation to opinion that's also in the report. And we did not have any findings for compliance either. So that's wonderful. Overall, your financial statements the EDA financial statements are also included in the city CAFR, and that's noted throughout the report. But there's some more information that's able to be included in the EDA's individual report. There's information about your conduit debt that you guys have. There's supplementary schedule about that. There is a new conduit debt standard coming out, but not till for 2 more years. And I'm not really sure it's going to impact you guys that much. It's just mostly not everybody who has conduit debt arrangements discloses all the information the same way. There's not really clear guidance on that, which is why people aren't doing it the same way. So this new standard, which will be effective FY22, just try to clarify that so that everyone who has conduit debt arrangements are going to be including the same information. There is also a letter to those charged with governance. That's the letter to you all. We do a letter at the beginning of the audit that says, hey, we're doing your audit. Here's what an audit is. Please reach out to us if you have issues. And then at the end of the audit, we do a letter that reminds you about all the estimates that go into financial statements. Any financial note disclosures that are maybe more sensitive than others. For the EDA, we note that people should be looking at the performance agreements because that's very special to the EDA. We did not have any corrected misstatements, no audit adjustments, which is wonderful. We really do look at things quite closely. So when we come in and we ask so many questions, and we're comparing to budget, we're comparing, we're reading your minutes and we say like, hey, we found this in your minutes. And so really to get through an audit these days without any corrected or uncorrected misstatements is something to be proud of. So, and I know Gail and Chris are the main reasons for that. Attached to that letter is also the management rep letter. This is about 3 pages and it essentially summarizes everything that we've asked. And in 3 pages says that, yes, you told us everything we needed to know and everything you told us was complete and accurate. And that letter is signed by management and we attach it to this letter to those charged with governance. We did not have a management letter. A management letter is usually the place where we would have internal control recommendations. Through our procedures, we did not find any recommendations of things to change in the control process and the control structure. And so that's also kind of a rarity these days, though helpful that the EDA doesn't officially have employees a little bit, but overall, and the EDA is going to, with small business grants, like I know that you guys have a lot going on, right? It's never a dull moment. COVID didn't make it any more dull for you. It just made it more complicated and put more responsibility on you. So overall, I think things for the audit went really well. Again, a clean opinion and no management letter recommendations. So if you have any questions about anything in particular, just let me know.
Thank you, Megan. I want to echo my thanks to Kim Cook, who's on the Brown Edwards staff, who does the bulk of the work on behalf of the audit company, as well as Gail Hasmer with the city finance department, and Trish Carpenter, who's on the call, who handles the day-to-day processing of items related to the EDA as well as our office. But they were all part of this effort for the last fiscal year. So thanks to all.
I did have a question for Megan on the those charged with governance letter. There was a section in there about cybersecurity risk management, and it said evidence suggests there may be a gap between the magnitude of exposure and the steps boards have taken. So did you identify anything in particular, or?
So that's more of a general comment, right? Because essentially the point of that letter is to let you know about all these things that are important, right? Estimates and whatnot. And cybersecurity is one of those things that we've included that very same paragraph in all of our letters for all of our clients, mostly to emphasize that in this environment, cybersecurity is certainly a risk and something to be aware of.
Okay,
But there
but
was
you didn't notice
nothing-
anything in particular with this engagement? Okay.
No. Mm-mm. I get that question a lot, so I'm not sure if we need to rephrase that standardized wording or not, but yeah.
Chris, I've got a question, and this may be for Megan or you. On the performance agreements, I understand there's also a performance agreement with Friendship Court. And that wasn't in the report. Is that because that's a fiscal year 21 performance agreement?
Yes, that was actually just approved by the council about a month ago. And there'll be no action on that until the project is complete. And then our role really starts. But correct, it was not part of FY20. So there's.
And then the other one was in the, when talking about the performance agreement on 459 Locus, the old Martha Jefferson Hospital. And maybe you talked about this when we came onto the board. It says that, that the authority's obligation is subject to the appropriation of funding for the city. Is that something that's in the performance agreement, or is that something pursuant to Virginia law?
It's both, frankly. So the Virginia municipalities are only allowed to appropriate funds for a year at a time. So they can't future obligate future councils. It's one of these weird quirks because you can't really do business unless if you enter into a 10-year contract, you kind of have to honor it. But everything is subject to appropriation with the local government.
Okay.
So the performance agreement is subject to appropriation. So if the city went bankrupt, the EDA is not on the hook to pay the performance agreement that year. So we get the funds from the city, we pass them through. And it is subject to appropriation. That is a good question. And it's a question that people on the other side of performance agreements get a little nervous about because they're like, well, wait a second. But as best I can tell, and as best our legal advice has been, is that there's really no way around that in Virginia law. And so that's why that's there.
Okay, thanks.
Are there any other questions about the audit report? So do we have a motion to accept the audit?
I got it. So moved.
Anybody second?
I'll second it.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? None opposed? It passes.
Thank you, Megan.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much once again, Megan, and our thanks to Kim as well.
So Chris, was there something about the annual report that different than the audit report?
Well, the annual report, something we started a number of years ago just to kind of incorporate the work of the EDA over the recent years and a little bit of the history to make it a little more understandable. So we have kept up that tradition. It's there for your benefit if you want to look through it. And it basically incorporates the financials at the very end. So they're there so that in a given year, we kind of have a little narrative about the highlights. You'll find those midway through the annual report. We have the history of kind of the recent 20-25 year history in some narrative form. And then the officers just kind of to memorialize the officers of that year as well within the annual report. So it's just something we started a few years ago and some have found it to be useful. So we continue to do it. So it kind of captures the year, if you will. I don't know if anybody has any questions or thoughts about that, but we typically include that right behind the audit and ask you all to accept that as well.
Okay, so you need we need a motion then?
Yes.
Okay, do I have a motion to accept the annual report?
I move to accept the annual report.
And second?
I'll second.
Either.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes.
All right. Thank you.
We'll move on to the election for next year. That's all we need is more election stuff.
Hopefully this one goes a little smooth. Hopefully we have results before 4:30. And I'm happy to open up this item. As most of you know, we are operating on a calendar year, even though we just had a fiscal year audit. Our finances are fiscally based to coincide with the cities, but the board functions on a calendar year, and our bylaws call for an annual election. And we typically do that in December for the next calendar year. So realize it's a little different this year because we don't have a full slate of members. And you only have 4 of the 5 of you on the call at the moment. We do need a chair and a vice chair. Ed was technically the vice chair this year, and upon the resignation of Ethan Dunstan, became essentially the chair for the last 2 meetings. But we do need to conduct this for calendar year 21. And I will say that Adrian's term ends next year, and that's his 2nd term, so he's not eligible for reappointment. He's probably delighted to hear that, having served.
Hey, I'm already rallying the troops for a recount. So.
Okay. In any case, I would typically suggest that since his term ends in April, that he not be part of the slate. He's certainly welcome to be. We would just have to do this again, midway through the year, or actually a little bit before midway through. So it's up to you all who you have fill these roles. So feel free to have discussion amongst yourselves and nominate somebody, and we'll go from there.
Yeah.
So do we nominate Jay because he's not here?
Oh,
That's a good question.
nominate Jay.
I haven't spoken with Jay. I don't know his willingness to serve in either of these roles, but perhaps we can entertain that if nobody else is willing.
I was going to say, it seems I'm brand new. I won't speak for Jim, but Ed, it's, by default, been handling the meetings really well, and be happy if you were to take that role if Jim wasn't, or I guess Adrian can't do it.
So what do you think, Jim? You want the chair role?
No, I think as a new member, you've got some history here, so I would definitely support your serving as chair.
Well, I will serve in that role if no one else wants to.
I nominate Ed for chair.
Second.
Do we have to nominate a slate though, Chris?
You can do it either way. Sounds like there's some consensus around Ed for chair. If you want to do vice chair and then vote on them together, that's fine.
All right, we have Ed for chair. Do we have a vice chair nomination? Sorry, Ed, I just took over your role. See, I'm already inserting myself in the process.
No one said anything about vice chair yet.
I mean, I think it's unfair to nominate Jay if he's not here, even though I'm going to see him in the next day or two, and I'll be sure to tell him that. But I don't know, Jim, if you want to do it. I've served. I mean, I'd feel comfortable being vice chair, but definitely would defer to you.
No, I think that's fine. I would be supportive of that. Sounds good.
All right. I'm fine. I'm good with that.
So now we need the official nomination. So we do have a motion for the slate now? Adrian, you want to do a motion for the slate?
Yeah, I motion for Ed as chair and Addison as vice chair.
I'll second.
Any comment, I guess? I don't hear any. So All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? It passes.
Oh, so that was painless. Well done, gentlemen.
So there's some other business, Chris, some FOIA business.
Yeah, this is a reminder and a little bit of a caution and a congratulations first to Mr. Chair, Mr. Smits, who was the first one to finish his FOIA training and hand his certification in. Congratulations. I just did mine last week. And the caution is, and I don't know if you experienced this, Ed, or not, but this is a new system. It's completely online. And you have to page through every page and listen to the audio. It's a little tedious. It does take 45 minutes. And when you get to the end, there's a certificate page, and mine, when it got to that point, I entered everything for the certificate, and it kind of locked up. It didn't take me to a page where you could print. And I don't know if this just happened to me, but in talking to our FOIA representative here at the city, apparently it's a little bit of a glitch in the program. So what I recommend is that you do a print screen as soon as you get to that page, which is what I did. And I just pasted that into a document and then saved that as a JPEG. Works fine. It's totally good. It looks official and everything. And it just has to be on file with our local clerk that you completed the process. And you can't complete the process until you get to that page. So, but just be aware, if that happens to you, just do a print screen and then save it as a JPEG or a PNG or something. And that will suffice as your certificate. Hopefully it won't happen to you, but I have heard that it is a bit of a glitch.
Yeah, I had some kind of a glitch, but I managed around it.
Okay.
Heck of a glitch.
So in any case, before December 31st, everyone needs to be in compliance, and that means you need to sit through this 45-minute FOIA training, which frankly is useful. As you all know, we do a annual kind of sharing of documents. Doesn't mean you read them or hear them. This actually puts it in front of you, and you have to listen through each of the pages. So you'll probably get a little bit more out of it. So it's a useful topic for everybody to be up to speed on. And the date that the General Assembly has set is December 31. So we'd like to have everybody in compliance. You'll get additional reminders and annoyances from me as we get closer to that date if we don't have yours in. So this is a reminder. This is the active link that you click to start the process. So when you have an hour of time at some point, would encourage you to do that. As soon as you have your certificate, just send it in to Trish or I, and we'll get it in the right spot so that you're checked off. So.
Albemarle County Schools.
All right, so
That's the reminder.
that's everything we have. So do I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I move to adjourn the meeting.
Second,
Second.
all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes.
Excellent.
We're done.
All right. Thank you all. Happy
Yeah.
holidays if we don't see you.
All right. You too.
Yeah,
Y'all
you
have
too,
a
Chris.
holiday. Thanks.
Everyone else.
Great.
Bye.
Cool.